So angry old man Biden is this kind of bubbling understory that I really need to see a lot more of. And my dream is that he gets the nomination and he gets, let's say, physically incapacitated, some God forbid, and then the party steals it and gives it to Hillary, which is not an impossibility at all. And I would desperately love that to happen. I want to see her lose 3 times. It's like any mummy movie, you're going to have a trilogy, right?
Yeah,
we need the mummy to come back for the 3rd time and get her final defeat.
Where does Dwayne Johnson fit into this? Because he must have to come
The Rock?
in. Yeah.
He said he's going to run.
Is that what's happening?
I think
vote
in
for The Rock.
2024, maybe. Yeah.
I'd vote for The Rock. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Michael Malice in the building. Woo!
That's true.
There he is.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great.
Fantastic. What's been happening? Actually, no, first off, Dave Rubin got you in a full ensemble and I get you in a t-shirt. What's happening?
Yeah. Well, this is Skype. When you get a studio and not a bedroom, then I'll dress appropriately. Okay. I'm in my pajamas, see?
Those are nice. That's a nice check on the bottom half.
Thank you.
You look
and
good.
I've got some nice farm socks for no reason. So you're from Newcastle.
Correct.
I'm going to impress you and make you uncomfortable.
Hit me.
The one thing I know about Newcastle, which no other American knows, is Mary Bell.
I don't know that. What's that?
Mary Bell was 10 or 11, and she was the youngest person convicted of murder in Britain. She killed 2 toddlers. And then she went to their house, and she's like, I want to see Billy. And they're like, he's dead, love. And she's like, I want to see him in his coffin. And they sentenced her to jail at age 11. She's from Newcastle. She's a Geordie. You didn't know this?
That is the most harrowing story that I've ever heard.
Yeah, and they left notes like, oh, there's murderers around, like a little kid handwriting. Yeah, you didn't know about this?
No, not at all.
Yeah. The book's called Cries Unheard.
Fuck me. What a way to start. Michael, come on.
Yeah.
I've got stories about Flamin Cheetos and stuff, and you're talking about like child murder, on child crime.
Yeah.
Wow. Come on then.
That's how I first. Well, I heard the other thing is that's how I learned about that Newcastle is a thing, other than the beer, which I adore, but also the thing they discussed in the book, which you're going to have to do for me, is they said that the Geordie accent is like the most unique accent in all of Britain.
Probably not too far off correct. Yeah. So when you get really, really thick, it's essentially another language. You got to remember we're right next to Scotland. We are which is close. Which genuinely is another language. Yeah. So yeah, there's some people. If I was to roll you out into the streets of Newcastle and just get you to try and translate, I think you might have a bad time.
Yeah, or a fun time. Yeah,
or a fun time. So come on, tell me what's been happening in your world at the moment.
I don't know. I have my shows. My book's out last May. I'm just being a jackass on Twitter. And just, I don't know, having a great 2020. Have you having a good 2020 so far?
2020's been sick. I've got a question for you. What is your favorite meme of 2020 so far?
Of 2020, it's been short.
You not think there's been much good stuff out? I haven't seen much good stuff.
I am blanking. Have there been any good memes so far this year? What are some suggestions?
It depends on what you class. I mean, this, standing on a box, this Bloomberg box thing, I don't know if that classes as a meme, but oh my god, like that is just. I don't know. I've seen better. You don't like that one?
No, I mean I'm a munchkin myself, and there's so much worse things to hit him over.
Okay, got you.
I think when you do the body shaming stuff, it's weak because like when they say Trump, can I curse in this show?
Fire away, man.
So when they talk about like how Trump has a small dick, it's like okay. Like, where are you going with this?
Yeah, yeah. I understand. I get that.
That's not the problem with Bloomberg. The problem is he's like a crazy person. He was our mayor. I'm from Brooklyn. I remember his mayorship.
Mm-hmm. What was that like?
It wasn't that bad, but you knew if you scratched the surface, this person is dangerous because he was very much I'm going to manage every aspect of your life for your own good. He was trying to think of plans about how to have Manhattan not have any cars. to force everyone into public transport. He was, I think you guys have that in London, where like the tolls on bridges change depending what time of day you use. So like everything is this kind of engineered from the top, very kind of benevolent Brave New World kind of situation. So yeah, I'm not a particular fan of his.
You got this dystopian future with Bloomberg at the head of it.
If he got in power, yeah. I mean, because he's got a lot of ideas, and when people in government have ideas, that's when things get dangerous.
When they have that power as well.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So, have you heard of Wall Street Bets on Reddit? Do you know what this is?
I've not.
Oh no. Man, this is precisely your sort of thing. So I have absolutely no structure to today, but I've just got a load of individual facts that we can talk about and we can go through. And Wall Street Bets is something I got introduced to recently. So it's a subreddit, and on here people make the most insane trades. Like just someone who will remortgage their entire house and put it on Apple's stock going down by 5% by Thursday at 12 midday. And just literally leverage their entire life purely for internet points from strangers that they've never met. And
wow, that does not seem normal.
No, but it is very fun. And if you just have a look, there's something called the Dankest Wall Street Bet Trades, which is like...
I do like...
which is like a quarterly roundup on YouTube that's like commentated, and it's all of the dankest bets that someone's made. And like some of them are really good, like someone who makes like 200 grand in a couple of days, but most of them are just people blowing their whole life savings, like taking money out of their wife's account to like, and they remortgage the house and do everything, student loans in there as well. And then, everything goes out the window. You need to check it out.
Okay, that sounds very disturbing.
A little bit. Not as disturbing as a child killing another child, though, Michael, so...
You should read the notes. I can't even repeat them, the language in them.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Right, okay. I've got another thing to talk about, actually, because you're super expert on North Korea, right? But we're not hearing anything about it at the moment. It's all China. We're all worried about China.
It makes me sad because for a little window there, I went there, I wrote a book about it, Dear Reader. I mean, this has been my work for a few years, like kind of proselytizing, on behalf of these people who are all slaves, and trying to shift the focus from the dictatorship to, the population there. And it was very disturbing to see the subtext much more in the States than in, I was on the BBC, doing talks on this, but this is much more in the States, where the focus here is so much that Trump is the devil. It almost sounds like you're wanting this to fail. Whereas, you should very much be hoping that, fine, he's the devil, but let's hope this devil pulls out a win on behalf of these, people who've been enslaved for 70 years. And now that it's completely fallen by the wayside, it's very, very discouraging. It's clearly not as much of a priority for the president and the media. And while that happens, the people, once you go there, everyone I've met is still there. I see my guide on Instagram. She's very wealthy by North Korean standards. She knows she's in a prison. She knows she can never leave. If she leaves, her family will be murdered publicly to make an example. That's how they do it. So it's very, very disheartening that it has kind of fallen by the wayside. And it's also disturbing that China is going in a North Korean direction. North Korea has something called Sangbun. And in the 50s, they interviewed everyone in the country, literally everybody, and they figured out how reliable your family is vis-a-vis the government. And they slotted everyone, it's like a credit score, into three classes, hostile, wavering, or loyal. And this determines everything about your life, including what city you live in, whether you can go to college, who you marry and things like that. And now China is talking about doing this kind of social credit system, which will determine whether you can leave the country. It's very, very discouraging. Although the Hong Kong stuff is a little ray of hope.
Yeah, I was talking to a data scientist a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that because we have GDPR in the UK, you guys in America don't really have that, but you have some data protection laws, and China is just like complete Wild West. Like there is no limit to what people can do. So here's one. Insurance companies are using people's GPS data on their phone, and if they find out that you are sleeping consistently in two different locations, that is strongly affecting your credit score. And the reason is, if you're consistently sleeping in two different locations, it means that you are likely to be in a relationship if you're in a relationship, you'll get engaged. If you get engaged, you'll get married. And if you get married, you'll probably get divorced, which means that you're a credit risk.
But isn't it also if you're in two places, you're more likely to get in a car accident?
Maybe that as well.
Yeah, because you're traveling more.
They're also using the speed at which people fill in their details on insurance forms to affect the amount they pay for insurance.
Really?
So if you they have they're scraping the data about how much time it takes someone to fill in, and if it takes X amount of time, then this happens, and if it takes X plus 2, then this happens, and X plus 3, then this happens.
Yeah, but there's a lot of research behind this. This is not based on nothing. Like actuaries, it's amazing how quantifiable I think most human behavior is. Most human beings aren't really capable of, critical thought or original action. So we don't know where this is based on, but I don't think it's tea leaves.
No, not at all. It's absolutely. So the guy that I was speaking to was like, look, all that they've done is modeled two different things.
Yeah.
The AI that they've got that's working behind this isn't malevolent or like nefarious. It's not going like, I'm going to pick out the old people or I'm going to pick out the people in relationships. It is that in the past, if someone has characteristic A, then B, and they're just modeling that. But the fact is that you can't hide the data. Like previously, your data about whether or not you are in a relationship or whether or not you are take 10 minutes longer to fill in your social security number or whatever it might be wouldn't have been publicly available. Wouldn't have been used at least to affect.
Oh, that's very crazy that it's public. That's really because I bet you like there's a correlation between people who watch Modern Family and a beverage that they drink, right? And some other show, some other beverage. That's how data works. But that's weird.
Yeah, it is. Do you know what the most popular type of porn is in India for men?
For men, India. It's not fucking cows, is it?
No.
Am I allowed to say that?
Well, I mean, are you allowed to say that? You are allowed to say it on the podcast. I don't know how much you are supposed to say it. That's
let me guess. India. One of my closest friends is Indian.
Yep.
So, just to mess with him, I'm going to say man boy.
No.
What is it?
Breastfeeding.
Oh, because that's milk. They love milk.
Is that a thing? I'm not sure if it's the milk. I don't think.
If you venerate the cow, you're going to venerate the milk.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you've drawn that line. That might be it. I don't know why. I just know that it is. I just know that it is the most popular type of.
I've never heard of anyone getting turned on by that.
No, me neither. But go to India, Michael. You will be amongst friends.
That's not my. I'm a fan of the breast. Wait, let me ask you. Now let's talk about this because this is what I want to know. Okay, and I have friends who are very into fitness. I have friends who are like TV models. They were on like Survivor, or whatever. So your job is to be an official hunk, right? That's like your gig, and you can hand wave it away and be like, "Oh, poor little me," but that's your gig, right?
Partly.
Right. What's it? Do you use like dating apps? Is your experience on these dating apps like being a girl that you just get like thousands of hits?
Matches are fairly consistent, but again, what we're talking about just there, they select for a very specific type of girl. Does that make sense?
No, explain it to me, please.
Okay, so there is a very specific type of girl who will swipe right on a guy that has the particular characteristics that I do, and my buddies that are the same. And I don't know. It's weird. Dating isn't massively easy for me or any of the friends that I know that have come out of doing reality TV and do the whole Instagram game. I don't know anyone who has a really easy time of it.
I heard that too, that it's easy to get laid, but it's hard to get a girlfriend because the girlfriend that you want are going to see those types floating around you and think you're not interested in her. And at the same time, it's easy for you to get laid. So maybe you're not as interested and it's going to be kind of self-isolating and it's not as... It looks a lot prettier on the outside than it is on the inside. Is that correct?
To a degree. I think it depends on what you're looking for in a partner. So, there'll be some of the guys listening, the girls that have been on reality TV, some of the stuff I've been on. And, like with them, some of them want someone else that is in that bracket. And for them, it's like, it's fantastic. It's kind of like inbreeding, but within particular social circles. But for me, I'm like, oh, fuck man, like I'm 31. I've served my time with the Dolly Birds. So for me, I want to try and find, but if you go headline title is guy who used to be on Love Island and Blue Tick and Arsehole, like that's what you see. So when I'm actually wanting to talk to them about the guy that's the data scientist that works out whether or not you're sleeping in two locations, that goes completely over their head. And to find the girl who is interested in that, it's actually really challenging.
Yeah, because she's going to be put off because she's going to think you're an asshole or completely two dimensional.
Correct.
My other friend, when he got very fit, what he said, and I want to know if this has been your experience, like when he would go to the bars, the girls who he would want who are like maybe eights because they've got a great personality, they're prettier than average, but they're not like at that level where it gets annoying. They are put off, and the ones who are very, very forward and aggressive, like grabbing his genitals, are like the really unattractive ones who just go up to him and like treat him like meat. Is that your experience?
They're also the ones with daddy issues. The ones that come up and do that are the ones who are the real sort of freaks when you...
But that happens.
Sometimes. I mean, it's still... It takes a very, very ballsy girl to come and do that. Like, to be the forward thinker. I'm speaking to Heather Boleyn, who's an evolutionary psychologist, at the end of the week, and I've been reading up a little bit about it, and it is like, there is essentially no species in the world where the woman is the sexual protagonist. And the same goes for, it takes such a brave girl to come and do that. Do
you get men being openly hostile to you when they meet you?
No.
Or like, they're not like giving you the eye?
No, I think there's guys who are significantly more alpha than I am, and they might do with them. But my livelihood the last 13 years has been standing on the front door of nightclubs. So I've seen a million people walk past me in nightclubs because that's what I do. I fill clubs. And, it's meant that, I don't know, my demeanor of just kind of being accepting and normalizing of just humans in a kind of an environment, normal social environment, I think seems to kind of quell that pretty quickly.
Okay. It's so interesting.
There's never any of that. I don't know. I mean, what was it like for you? Talk to me about your sort of dating.
I'm not a hunk.
That's true.
So I don't have to. I got my abs in, so I feel comfortable talking about this stuff with you. But It's very interesting how people who are outliers physically, what their experiences are and how different they are and how different from how people perceive them to be. Like if you, again, like I have a friend who's a model and she's complaining. There's two scenarios, right? One where she's complaining, I can't find a dude. Well, that's because you're a picky bitch. But then there's the one where, the kind of guy she would want would never think to approach her because he thinks that she would never be interested in him. And when you're at her level, she doesn't need to be dating a model dude because she's like, I'm going to be the pretty one. I'm fine. I want someone who can hold my interest. So it's at that level, it's very, very weird.
It's challenging for girls. It's really challenging for girls, I think, because of hypergamy, right? So women tend naturally to date up and across. And it's the same problem for any girls that are listening. If you are over 6'1", like I feel for you because you're having to look for athletes, like basketball players, stuff like that. Like girls tend not to date men that are shorter than them. So if you are, and it's the same thing goes for every other factor about a girl. If you're a 9 out of 10 girl or a 10 out of 10 girl, like the guy doesn't want his mates to always be able to say you're punching. Or if you're a girl who happens to earn £500,000 a year, like you don't want, despite my Instagram bio saying aspiring trophy husband, like most men don't want that.
Yeah, but it's also what they find is when they're that good looking, the guy presumes that the woman won't be interested, so they will come at them very aggressively. And when she is obviously not interested in this aggression, then they feel comfortable being very nasty to her. But they're the ones who have set up this whole kind of scenario needlessly, and it becomes self-validating. It's a very interesting dynamic at that level.
Dating's fascinating, man. I'm rereading Mark Manson's Models at the moment. Which is like how to attract women through honesty, essentially. And that's so interesting as he talks about the things that he's discovered. Mark Manson knows his shit. Like the things that he's discovered make relationships work. And, super interesting. I got another thing that we can move on to. Flamin Hot Cheetos. Do you know who invented them?
No.
So Richard Montañez, who was a cleaner at the Frito-Lay factory.
Oh.
So he's now the VP of multicultural sales for PepsiCo America. The guy couldn't read or write when he was the janitor. And while he was there, Roger Enrico, who was like the CEO of Frito-Lay, had encouraged all of the workers to act like an owner. That's what he said. He'd given this big, one of those like end of year announcement speech type things, Buffett and people like that give him all the time. And then this guy, this Richard Montañez guy, had decided that there wasn't any Cheetos for the Mexican market because Mexicans love spice, and he just started like fucking around with some Cheetos and made Flamin Hot Cheetos, and now he's the VP of multicultural sales for PepsiCo.
I think I was more of a cheese. I've always been a cheese doodles guy myself.
You see, in America, you guys just have the absolute like laundry list of every different type of confectionery and savory item.
I'm sorry, how many types of Walker's Crisps are there? Like 60?
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Prawn cocktail, hedgehog, mint lamb, chicken tikka masala. What are you talking about? We can play this game.
Okay, yeah, you are right. America, though, I mean, sometimes when I go over, I don't know whether it's just novelty, but when I do go to America, I'm just blown away. Like some of the things that like the breakfast cereals is one thing. Like America does breakfast cereals so good. I'm super, super impressed by that.
If you go to, for the people across the pond who go to whenever I go to anywhere I travel, I go to the supermarket because I love seeing all the wacky brands.
Yeah.
If you come to America and you go down the cereal aisle, every cereal box that's for kids, the character looks like they're on cocaine. 'Cause they're all like really excited and their teeth are showing. And you look at him like this leprechaun is cranked
off
up.
His face.
Yeah, and yeah, it's really, when you have that notice, Count Chocula is really excited about this cereal. It's like he hasn't slept all night because he's been doing rails, and now here comes the chocolate to top it off. It's really nuts. Go look. Now you can't unsee it. If anyone goes to the super,
you're totally correct. Yeah, Count Chocula's been up on a heavy one all night. Yeah. Right, next up, what do you think is the world's most popular spirit by volume sold?
Oh, it's a Mutai from China.
Baiju,
sorry, yeah.
Baiju from China. So the next closest...
It tastes like gasoline.
Have you had it?
So I did something called the Arduous March. So I did it twice. I had fans chip in money, and we did this once with 32 bottles and once with 40 bottles. And me and my crew did a quarter shot to see if we can get through all of these.
You spoke about this on Rogan. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And it was all these weird liquors. The weirder the better. And one of them, of the 32, it was Muay Thai, I guess it's type of Baiju, was by far the worst. Nothing was even close to as bad.
What's it
was horrific.
Like?
It was a mix of like soy sauce and like rotten
like just straight off the bat, it's so racist.
Well, yeah, but it does. It has that salty, like metallic taste.
Got you. Yep.
And then like meat, it tasted like maybe some kind of cleanser. It was horrifying, and it keeps the taste stays with you, in your mouth. And I think how it works is they do shots all night and get like really whatever the word for plastered is in Newcastle. Mm-hmm. And after a while, you don't taste anything, I think is how it works. It kills your taste buds.
Burns the sensation away.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's really bad.
10 billion
and some
liters
like $800 a bottle. It gets really expensive.
Vodka, 5 billion liters a year. Baiju, 10 billion liters a year.
Yeah.
Shit, man. Right, next up, drunk shopping is a $45 billion per year industry.
Okay.
Where do you drunk shop? You ever drunk shopped?
I don't really drink because I get meaner when I drink.
Meaner than usual?
Yeah.
Oh, God. And then does someone need to take your Twitter off you?
Take me what?
Take your Twitter off you?
No, I meant in person.
Oh, okay. Right, got you.
Yeah, I'm Russian, so we are very good at being cruel. And I'm also funny, so then the next day I feel guilty when I say really nasty things.
And
which are funny in the moment.
Your surname is Malice.
Yeah, Malice by name, Malice by nature, as Roger Hargreaves would say. I have never done drunk shopping. Yeah. I don't think I have. Apparently, like online?
Yeah. So apparently £444 is the average annual spend of a drunk shopper. Clothing and shoes, most common purchase, and Amazon is the most highly drunk shopped platform.
If I'm drunk and I get home, I'm going to bed. I'm not going online. I'm not going to go shop.
Well, I suppose.
Do you?
No, I don't. I'm just thinking, I'm wondering if this is the married woman not going to booty call. It's not a you up 2:30 a.m. text that she's going to send to a bunch of people, which, by the way, we have a series called Life Hacks on the podcast. A life hack which will never be featured on there, but I'm going to put on now, is one that a friend used to use. He has a broadcast list on WhatsApp of 3 a.m. girls, 4 a.m. girls, and 5 a.m. girls. And that is like in descending order of preference. that he will send a, like, what you up to and just broadcast it to the whole list individually. And then if they reply, great. But if no one does, then it goes to the 4 a.m. list. Then he sends that. And then if no one replies, then it's like the 5 a.m. list. And that's
it's like Dante's Inferno.
Yes,
right?
You descend through the circles.
You descend
the
and
circles
it gets worse
of WhatsApp.
and worse. At the very base, it's Judas being chewed by Satan. Oh, then. Right. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Because I think is when I'm going to stop drinking, that's when I go home. And I'm not going online at all. It's got to be when you're drinking by yourself.
Yeah, so you double screening. You've got like Modern Family or whatever on, and it's like a Tuesday at 9 p.m. and you've had a bottle of wine, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah, and some soup for yourself.
Yeah, and then
Chef
you buy some more
soup for one. Yeah,
you buy some more soup. Right, what else have we got here? This one's so good, Michael.
Okay.
Right, so emojis are starting to appear in evidence in court cases.
Okay.
And lawyers are worried when emoji symbols are strung together, we don't have a reliable way of interpreting their meaning.
Okay. Yeah.
In 2017, an Israeli judge had to decide if one emoji-filled message constituted a verbal contract. So this guy had replied about coming to inquire about a house, and he was trying to work out, like, if the monkey or chipmunk on the end was some sort of positive reinforcement that he actually meant that he was going to, like, come and do something with this house.
My favorite series of emojis, Kurt Schlichter, he's a senior columnist at Town Hall. He goes after the Bill Kristol types Republicans. And what he invented was the fist, the eggplant, and then the squirting water.
It's a classic. It's a classic.
It's so much better than the finger. Yeah, it's really, really great. So credit to Kurt for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I tell you what, you can tell a lot from a man by what his most frequently used emojis are. Have you got your phone nearby? Can we see your most?
I don't do them on the phone. I do them on Twitter. I'll tell you what they are.
Okay.
Cool. I know them off the top of my head.
Cool.
The blowing kiss one.
Yeah.
Because if someone sends me a nice tweet and I don't want to write a long reply, I'll blow them a kiss.
Yep.
Or if I'm being like nasty to somebody else, I'd be like, or maybe ask your mom, blowing a kiss. Mm-hmm. The other one is if I'm being really snide and bitchy on Twitter, I'll do the nail polish one to signify this
Queen.
Is being bitchy.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, Queen. Yeah, just got the nail polish. Or if someone says something like, well, maybe not with that shirt on, the nail polish comes out. And the other one I use is, although less frequently since Bolsonaro took over Brazil, is the helicopter emoji. So the helicopter emoji, and I talk about this in my book, is when Pinochet took over Chile in 1979 in a military coup. He took a lot of communists and non-communists, apparently, and in helicopters and threw them in the ocean. So when you see someone on Twitter who's being particularly egregious, you just reply with a helicopter, and they won't know what it is, but everyone else will. But now that we've got a guy in Brazil who's kind of in that direction and it's not that funny, I've used it much less.
Yeah, you got to roll back on that. But getting the C is a very good response to anyone that needs to leave, that needs to depart the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fast fashion is hitting the wiping rags business. So
what's the wiping rag?
Wiping rags. So there's billions of years. So
speak English, motherfucker.
Wiping rags. It's a rag for wiping, Michael.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So 30% of textiles that are recovered for recycling in the US get used to wipe shit. Painters need to wipe up their splodges.
Okay, like cloths.
Wait, so
are they paper towels or are they cloths?
They're cloths.
Okay.
So it's like textile material, okay, right? So you're an engineer who's got to clean down some of the oil or whatever on a machinery, all this sort of stuff. And apparently fast fashion. So this do you guys have like Pretty Little Thing and kind of imagine any dress that Kendall Jenner is on an affiliate deal for.
Okay.
It costs about $20. And every girl owns it. It's like a disposable dress, right? Like a single-use dress or a single-use t-shirt. That's fast fashion. And this clothing quality is so low that it's annihilating the wiping rags business because they literally can't stand up to wiping shit.
Okay.
So it's such bad quality that once you've worn it, when you try and wipe some paint up with it, it just falls to pieces.
I'm the opposite. I am a big denim collector. Right, I've got 30 pairs of jeans, and the trick with the raw denim is, but you wear it for years. because it breaks down and you get the fades, you know what I mean? And it kind of adapts to your body, and you know what I mean? That's the fun of it, right? And you almost never wash them. So this is the exact opposite of the kind of fashion I like. Like, I like it when your clothes, you know, like if you have corduroys where the whales have worn down over 7 years, that's fun. You know what I mean? Because this is what drives me crazy. This is my autism speaking. When you have clothes that are distressed, but you bought them new, like with the faded logos, it drives me crazy. I want to have that t-shirt that's been through the wash 30 times, and now the letters are falling off. That's fun because I put in the work.
Yeah, you want to feel like it's a shortcut to success.
Yes, I've earned it. This is this shirt is
my sweat patches.
Exactly.
Fuck. Yeah, I'm a man who probably shortcuts that, but then I buy cheap stuff. Do you know what I mean? I spend my nights surrounded by drunken students on the front door of a nightclub. I don't want anything nice. Everything that I own is destroyed.
How annoying is it? Are they all up in your face about the show and about Insta?
They were when it was a little bit more recent, so it's been like four and a half years now. A little bit more. I got barred from the front door of my own event by my business partner because when I would walk around outside, there would just be this throng of people that would like cats jumping up and down or something. But that's kind of chilled now, so I can actually do my job again, which is nice.
Do you get hit on more by chicks or by dudes?
Chicks. I give off a real bad gay vibe. It's just
really?
My gaydar. Oh, I don't know how it works. My gaydar is accurate for other people, but my like appearance on the gaydar for people that are gay. No.
Huh. I thought the pretty guys get a hit on the most. I did not know this. Okay, interesting.
I'm not sure. We were asking this question the other day. I want to know, if you're a gay man, like, how do you know if you're like a top or a bottom?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Well, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're listening, and can you please explain? Like, do you sometimes swap? Is it is it always a one way street type thing? I want to know, because on Grindr, you can choose whether or not you're top or bottom, or I think you might be able to choose both. But like, how do you know? And what if two tops arrive, or two bottoms?
Well, I think the analog would be: do you like choking her in bed, or do you like getting choked in bed? Right?
But you can still have sex either way.
Right, but it's more like which is the more dominant and which is the more submit. Or, I don't know. I think we're talking about things we're not really familiar with. So
we definitely are. That is definitely correct. What else have we got here? Mushrooms. Mushrooms and truffles are more closely related to humans than they are to plants.
Yeah, because of the proteins.
Yeah, and they breathe in. I only found this out the other day that they breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. What the fuck?
Yeah, and that's why they're used as meat analogs.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you think about how fungus works, it basically breaks down plant matter into its own form. So in a very, very primitive way, that's like eating.
Yeah, they split off. So there was plants at the top, and then us and plants split off. But after us and plants split off, us and fungi split off. So
wait, I thought fungi came before plants. No?
No.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so we are part of a lineage that's after that.
Okay, that's very cool.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. And then, I mean, Paul Stamets has got all this stuff, right? Where he goes on about the mycelium under the floor that can talk to each other a million miles away and all this stuff.
I just got a fossil of something called Dickinsonia, which looks like a quilted circle. And for a long time, they didn't know whether it's a fungus or a jellyfish or a plant, or since it's the oldest fossil or something that is not related to anything contemporaneous. And then somehow they found cholesterol molecules in one of the fossils, so now they know it was actually an animal. So it's really weird how things that look nothing like us, just based on the chemical composition, we can figure out what it is, right? Because fungus looks so different. Some fungus don't have fruiting bodies. They're complete parasitic, whatever. Toenail fungus doesn't look like a mushroom to us, right? We don't know if it's a virus, an infection, bruise.
Just a thing.
So just a thing. And we can look based on how, for billions of years, there's certain things that have stayed the same. Isn't that weird?
It's crazy, man. I absolutely love thinking about that stuff. You mentioned a couple of times buying stuff, random shit from the internet. What have you been spite funding recently? And can you, for the people who don't know what that is, can you explain what it is?
So I had this idea once when someone came for me on Twitter. I said it would be a real shame if people gave me money for something I didn't want just to spite you. And the donations kept coming in. I have a bunch of stuff right here. I'll show you. And I'm like, all right, so here I have, this is a pen. You're not gonna be able to see it really, made out of Fordite. Fordite is what happens in factories when after years of hand spray painting, it makes layers and layers and layers, and it's kind of a synthetic mineral. So this is a pen made out of Fordite. This is another pen. This is from a Corvette factory.
That is cool.
Then I have a pen stand made out of a walrus tusk. I did not need this, but they paid for it. After a while, it gets harder and harder to find things to buy. This is a pen from South Africa made out of a warthog tusk.
Oh my god.
I don't need 7 pens. This pen is made out of...
Do you write much? Do you ever write? Have you ever written anything?
Well, not with my pens. I'm an author. I use a computer. This one is made of wood from the DMZ between the Koreas. So that's pretty cool.
That's cool as fuck.
What else do I have handy?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Who has got hold of that piece of wood?
So the guy who made it, his friend was stationed in the South Korean part, and he just took like a branch and sent it back to...
Fuck me, that's a dangerous...
It's really fun, this spite funding thing. I just... I'm looking right now at a signed photo of Andy Kaufman, who's my hero, hanging above my head. So it's really fun a shtick to do.
And what else? You thinking about anything else at the moment, or is it just sort of spur of the moment?
I've got a pair of tribal print pants, corduroys from Japan, in honor of Elizabeth Warren, but someone bought them from under me, so the money's still in escrow. But that was it, yeah. And when Kamala Harris, I don't know how familiar they are with her over there, she was this cop who was running for president, just really an abomination of a human being. So when she lost, we had a ham, because the pig was roasted. I guess you call them the filth over there, right? We had a ham tasting. I had this Spanish ham and all the hams from all over the world.
Yeah.
Actually, that's really fun. Let me tell you something interesting. The first time I did an interview with the BBC, and this was a very shocking moment to me, and I'm going to offend some people, and I apologize in advance. I was born in Russia, so the way the Russians look at the police is very different from the States. And I was doing an interview in BBC4 or something, and they said, oh, this website you work on, you guys make a lot of jokes about the police. And I thought, Britain's much more left than the States. And I said, well, it's like my dad always told me, and this is true, like wherever you go on earth, whenever you find yourself, the dumbest people are the cops. And they audibly gasped, and they go, this is a family show. And they changed the subject. And that was the first time I realized how that is politically incorrect. To say. It was very jarring because I wasn't cursing or anything.
How would that joke have gone down in America?
Oh, it would not go down here. Here would be very controversial. I'd get a lot of heat for it, so I bite my tongue. And I'm like, I didn't realize the animus was out of proportion to the very weak bit of humor that there was to it.
And you just didn't know how it was going to land.
I didn't think it was going to land bad at all because this is Europe. So I assumed it was going to be the same as in Russia, and it was not. It was much closer to the States.
It definitely is.
So,
yeah, it is. What else have we got? Oh, no babies born in Britain in 2016 were called Nigel. You know that?
Oh, I love him, and I'm in love with him.
I have a few friends that are called Nigel. They're a dying breed.
He is. I met him at the studio once, and I go to him, Mr. Farage, what do you think of Enoch Powell? And he goes, he's an interesting man. Very interesting. And I'm like, all right, I got you.
Well, that's what Russell Brand called him, didn't he? He called him the pound shop Enoch Powell.
Did he?
Yeah, Russell Brand. Okay. He referred to him, I think, on Question Time as they sat on the same panel. He was like 5 yards away from him and said he's the pound shop Enoch Powell.
Do people in the UK not appreciate the savagery when he goes to the European Parliament and basically takes a shit on the desk?
I think British people have a very unique sense of humour.
Sure.
And I actually don't think that they find what Farage does as funny as what Farage does is.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because to me, I don't know how many people saw it, like when Brexit finally happened and he gave his little speech and they all got up and started waving their little Union Jacks. It was so stupid and so funny. And then the lady at the front of the room was like, sit down and get rid of your flags. And he's like, don't worry, we're leaving. And I'm like, this is hilarious. And it's not meant to be taken seriously at all. It's clearly clownish intentionally. And people here, in the States get very, very upset by Trump tweets when they're the stupidest thing ever. And I'm like, how are you giving this the power to, I get it's the president, but this, of all the things he's done, this is the one that gets you upset that he's, making fun of this person. I mean, how do you have this much energy to be this triggered after this much time?
Man, this is what I replied to you on Twitter yesterday. You retweeted a video of some people protesting outside of the White House, ringing bells and shouting shame. And the first thought into my mind was, I don't understand how these people have so much time. Right. I dream of having that much spare time that I could go and do that. I need to manage my schedule more efficiently or get them to do it.
They need to be doing more drunk shopping.
They do. Well, they've bought, obviously, Richard, we've bought this bell from Amazon when I was wasted. What am I going to do with it? Right, why don't we go to the White House and then we'll post hoc rationalize the bell purchase and make it look like it was social justice.
We can make this all a write-off.
Yep. Yeah, and it's tax deductible. Yeah, because it was used as part of content. Let's talk, this year, 2020, all that's going to happen is election shit, right? Like that's all that's going on. How do you see the rest of this year playing out? What's going to happen?
Tonight, as we record, is the Iowa Prime Caucuses, which is the first voting in the Democratic nomination. And over the last week, it's become full-blown warfare between the establishment and the Bernie Sanders people, which I absolutely love, any kind of political carnage. Depending on what happens tonight, it looks like it's going to get very, very, very ugly very, very, very quickly. Bernie has already been launching ads explicitly attacking the Democratic Party, which I think is historically unprecedented. He says the ad, we make Trump nervous, we make the insurance companies nervous, we make the Democratic establishment nervous. I don't think that's real. Even Trump never really went after the quote unquote Republican establishment.
Yeah.
So he's surging. So if that is validated by a win, I don't know what they're already talking, the DNC, Democratic National Committee, what they can do to stop this guy. So it might get even more public and even more brazen. You might not have seen this across the pond, but Elizabeth Warren he said to her that a woman can't get elected president. They try to play it off like he's saying a woman shouldn't get elected president. And on MSNBC, one of our networks, which is failing badly, Joyanne Reid had a body language expert to prove that Bernie was lying. I mean, this is basically tea leaves. It was so to be that brazen, and I'm hardly a Bernie person, is going to be great. We're going to see unprecedented machinations on both sides of the Democratic Party. But you're having the same thing. You have the real life Titania McGrath, Rebecca Long Bailey, about to take over for Jeremy Corbyn, and she's saying that inequality keeps her up at night. It's like, get some rest, bitch. Calm down.
Yeah, I mean, what is going to happen in the UK? The thing about the UK is politics is so short-lived for us. Like in America, ever since 2016, all that anyone in America has wanted to talk about is how did Trump get elected? Then there's The Great Hack on Netflix, which was that documentary about how the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Then there's all this Ukraine stuff. Then there's impeachment stuff. Then there's Russian hacking and Russian bot farms. And it's just been 4 years constantly of post hoc rationalizing what the fuck happened. Right. And with the UK, as soon as, on the couple of weeks leading up to the election, there was all rousing people with roses in their bio and for the many, not the few, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, it's all forgotten. 2 weeks later, Love Island's on, or I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here's on ITV, on the TV channel. So they're just calling someone a fat bitch on TV. That's all that happens.
What was your reaction when you saw Diane Abbott wearing two left shoes and the different ones? I mean, I actually love her. I love her a lot because here's what people make fun of her. We have people like Diane Abbott here. The thing where I think I really respect her is she knows how to stick to the message, right? She was on with Piers Morgan and he's like, what's Labour's plan for immigration? And she's like, Piers, the Tories it's not working and it's disaster. He's like, okay, fine. What's your plan? I've told you, Piers, the Tories. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, I respect a politician who's getting punched in the face and is not reacting. That takes skill and that takes fortitude. I'm not being ironic or sarcastic because here they get flustered. They freak out. So she's disciplined. So I find her very, very interesting.
When you see that single-mindedness, so we saw it on election night, as soon as the exit polls happened, someone somewhere in the Labour Party had trickled down, call it a Brexit issue, call it a Brexit vote. And that was all you heard from the first guy that came out. And then I can't remember who it was, one of the panel pundits on the side of the BBC had managed to get a leaked message memorandum type thing that had gone around, which was like, right, this is the party line. And he was like reading through this leaked thing on air and just saying like, yeah, they're just saying, just focus on Brexit, call it a Brexit issue. Cause then the finger's kind of not really pointed at the fact that we didn't have any good policies.
Yeah. And then Brexit's going to be resolved. So now we can have a clean slate next time.
Yeah. Which I don't think is going to change anything either. Okay. So we've got that with Bernie moving forward. Do you put your money where your mouth is with stuff for what's going to happen later this year, or do you not do that this far out?
I put my money where my mouth is that I donated money to Biden because I want a year of him campaigning. He just recently went to the coal miners and told them, if you know how to shovel coal, you can learn how to program a computer, which is a lie. That's not accurate. If someone knows how to use a computer doesn't mean they can shovel coal either. So his son being an admitted crackhead, the fact that we can use the word crackhead and have it be funny again. Whenever he tweets, I always tweet with a response of a crack pipe, and people reply to me, that's not a crack pipe, that's a meth pipe. And how foolish of me not to know the distinction between the two. Or they correct me, he's not the crackhead, his son is the crackhead. Oh, how embarrassing. So I want a year of this. Plus, he's been getting very, very feisty on the campaign trail. He's been yelling at people. He's been turning his backs on them. He's been telling them to vote for Trump. So angry old man Biden is this kind of bubbling understory that I really need to see a lot more of. And my dream is that he gets the nomination and he gets, let's say, physically incapacitated, God forbid, and then the party steals it and gives it to Hillary, which is not an impossibility at all. And I would desperately love that to happen. I want to see her lose 3 times. It's like any mummy movie, you're going to have a trilogy, right?
Yeah,
we need the mummy to come back for the 3rd time and get her final defeat.
Where does Dwayne Johnson fit into this? Because he must have to come
The Rock?
Yeah.
He said he's going to run.
Is that what's happening?
I think
vote
in
for The Rock.
2024, maybe. Yeah,
I'd vote for The Rock.
When Trump runs for his 3rd term.
Fuck, man.
So wait, let me ask you this, Mr. Fitness Guy. How do you stay motivated on a cut? And how do you psychologically handle losing the strength? Those mind games are the toughest part. Because I was in the gym last week and my lifts were all down. And it's like, what's the point? Blah, blah, blah. You know, the brain fucks with itself.
Mm-hmm. So the problem you've got when you're training for aesthetics and not performance is that your progress in the mirror is always going to be subjective, not objective. So if you were training purely for strength, you would know last week I lifted X, this week I lifted X plus 5. Good. Whereas you could wake up 2% leaner than you were a month ago, but be in a shit headspace, look at yourself in the mirror and go, I look fucking shit. I really don't like this, or I'm not, whatever. Scales are lying, whatever it might be. So I think.
But isn't it also, let me interrupt you, I'm sorry. It's also when you have hunger and you have the calorie depletion, your brain is also going to tell you negative things. You're not in a positive place like when you're stuffing your face and you have all the carbs and endorphins.
But diet brain. So it's when you're on a diet, all you can think about is the next bit of food. Like, I just want more. And it's the same thing. I was talking to Morgan Housel. You know who Morgan is? Wrote for a big sort of Wall Street advisor and personal finance guy. And we were talking about debt brain. It's like if you're in debt, like severely in debt, and you don't know where the next meal or the next payment on the credit card's coming from, it's precisely the same as diet brain. So in terms of how you can kind of keep motivation up, it's challenging, man. Like a diet will turn anyone crazy. I have a friend.
Well, I say regimen. Girls have diets, men have regimens, and it has the word men in it.
Correct. Nice. Regi MXN.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's challenging, man. So the best thing that I can say is just to kind of stick to the process. Like if you just continue to stick to whatever the plan is that's in front of you, ensure that you're having a refeed day, refeeding so you're on a calorie deficit and then you're having one day that's high.
No, I should start doing that.
I think so. As long as you don't have such a high day that it bumps your total weekly calories then over into a surplus. But let's say that are you tracking calories?
I do macros.
Yeah. So do you know what your macros are?
I can tell you. Sure.
Tell me now.
Hold on. Let me open the file.
What do you weigh?
I'm down to 137.
137.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm also 5'6".
Yeah, but still 137 at 5'6" is light, man. You must
That's
so
not
that's
that
why
light.
that's why the abs have come in though, right?
Oh yeah, and the cum gutters too. I'm very excited. 176 protein.
Yep.
175 carbs and 51 fat.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's nice. I think that's what's that? Probably about 2,100 calories, I think, for the day, something like that.
I think approximately, my friend said they are about 2,000, yeah.
Yeah, got you. So I think if you're doing 2,000, and then if you had one low day and then one day where you maybe did 2,500 and allowed yourself to eat a little bit more and chose that on a day when you know that you're going to really lift, and then you're actually going to go in, you're going to feel a little bit more full, and you're going to feel a little bit more energized to go into the gym and stuff like that. So it's quite...
And then it's also easier psychologically because you have to tell yourself, I just got to hang in till Saturday.
Yeah, sacrifice
and then I have
reward.
my reward. Yeah. Okay, that's very helpful.
Another thing as well to consider is anyone that's listening that's ever been on a diet will, if
regimen.
You've gone on a regimen, regimen. I had Andrew Doyle on, creator of Titania McGrath.
And I was just with him in LA.
How amazing is he?
He's gay. Yep. And I said to him, I go, Andrew, we have to take the faggiest photo ever. So if you go to my Instagram, there's a picture of us feeding each other pink ice cream. And there's also another picture of me wiping it off his cheek because he's a girl, right? You know what I mean? And it's really, really fun. He's hilarious. I adore him.
Dude. So he was sat in my living room there. He was playing at the Edinburgh Fringe, and he was going to London to be on Sky News and then getting the train up, and the train goes past my house essentially. Stopped off, came in, had a coffee, fucked off up there. Man, I couldn't breathe. There was some of the things that he comes out with.
I adore him, yeah.
Have you seen that him and Douglas Murray are both touring the UK?
No, that's awesome.
As a pair.
That's amazing. Douglas was to be on my show, but he couldn't get like the license or to get to the States or something. It was some visa thing.
Outlawed from the States.
But speaking of States, I just saw something else I got spite funded. You're not going to be able to make this out. It's not going to focus. This is the first penny ever made from 1787, designed by Ben Franklin, and on it says, "Mind your business." If you look this up,
why?
FGIO. It's the first penny, yeah.
How much was that?
It was only $200
for the first penny in America.
Yeah, that's not that much. It goes for much more.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
Yeah, 200 first penny from 1787.
I would have thought it would have been like million. I thought I don't know, like some.
It's not literally the first one. I mean, they were in circulation.
Yeah, I get it, but there's not going to be many of them floating around, right?
Correct, and especially not in good condition where a lot of them the slogans worn off. I'm like, no, I have to see "Mind your business." Is that great?
You should wear it around your neck or something like that.
Oh my! I wouldn't. That's not a bad idea.
Melt it down and turn it into like it's something else.
I was gonna frame it and have it right when you walk into my house, like a nice little frame.
Mm-hmm.
Or in the bathroom or something. I don't know. I love it. I gotta find a frame for it.
That's awesome, man. Okay, so we're rolling the clock forward. We're getting to later in this year. And then what happens? Okay, two scenarios. First one is Trump versus Biden. Second one is Trump versus Bernie. What happens when they actually stand off against each other?
I don't think that the Democratic Party will allow Bernie to be the nominee.
How did they sabotage that?
I don't know how they would do it, whether they would change the rules at the last minute. There's a lot of corporate power in the Democratic Party, and I'm sure with the Labor Party too. They pretend it's all for the people. Corporate power is powerful, every country in all parties, right? Bernie's no joke when it comes to democratic socialism and contempt for corporations and corporate power in America. He means it. He's been saying this for decades. I don't know what they will do, but they will do whatever it takes because, as we're seeing here, you guys aren't privy to it. The media has now started jumping against him in collusion with the Democratic Party. So what the press did against Trump in 2015-16, they're going to do against Bernie. They're going to start dropping things. I'm absolutely certain they will never let him be the nominee. Let's pretend that he does somehow. Let's pretend.
Okay. Yeah.
If it's Trump versus Biden, it is going to be it's not often we get to see an old man beaten and laugh, like beaten till his teeth fall out. It's going to be horrible to watch. He's not well. I think he's a decent guy. I think he cares about people. I think he is a little bit senile. He forgot Obama's name. He's forgetting how to talk often. He just recently said LGBTOBGYN. Like he said this. This is not a function of, but it's kind of sad because the guy suffered through a lot. He's had family tragedies. I wish him nothing. I make fun of the son, but I don't think he's a bad person. And even if this corruption were all true, it's hardly bad by political standards. Everyone does this kind of stuff. So I do feel bad for him, number one. So I think Trump would wipe the floor with him. With Sanders, if you had two anti-establishment figures, which I don't think there's historic precedent for in the States, at least not for like a good 80 years, I don't know what it would look like. I think the big loser there would be media. And social media would really seize power because both of these figures, Trump and Sanders, are very, very social media driven and anti-establishment in every kind of sense. Hillary, this lovely woman who Sanders endorsed and campaigned for, just recently said no one likes Bernie and he's never gotten anything done, very gratuitously. Well, that gives him an opportunity because that means he's not beholden to you guys. And he is in a position to be like, we tried it your way. Hillary lost to the worst person in history, an election she should have won. We have this jackass. Now we're trying it my way. And that's a very compelling message, I feel.
So you think that if there's no roadblocks put in place, that you could actually see Bernie getting through?
It's conceivable. Yeah. But I think this would be kind of I can't think of another election America's had that would have been this kind of messy, other than like William Jennings Bryan and McKinley in like 1896. Like it would be, 68. 68, you had three parties. You had Richard Nixon, you had George Wallace, the Southern racist figure, and then you had Hubert Humphrey from the Democrats. And they were rioting at the Democratic convention, and it was basically close to a tie in the popular vote between Nixon and Humphrey. And Nixon was reviled by the Democrats, understandably. It was a very, very, very dark election. This would be, I think, somewhat similar.
It's like two south ends of a magnet, right?
Yeah.
If you get that, and it's just everything.
Yeah.
Around.
It would be really, really horrific, in a good way. I love the carnage.
If you were an Avenger, do you think you'd be Loki?
Well, Loki's not in the Avengers. He's an enemy. I'm a DC Comics person.
Okay.
But I am very much a trickster figure. So yes, Loki, the Norse god, not Loki, the comic book character.
Got you. Okay. Who's your favorite DC guy or girl?
I'm a hipster, so no one's going to have heard of this, but I was a huge fan of the Legion of Superheroes. I have every issue ever. They took place in the 30th century. And there was a character there called Triplicate Girl. So you have Superboy, you have Supergirl, you have Saturn Girl who's telepathic, Cosmic Boy, Magnets, Lightning Lad. And Triplicate Girl could just split into three people. And it's like, okay, this guy can juggle the sun. And it's like, okay, there's three chicks here. And it's just like, why are you here? Like, so there's triplets? Okay. So I love that. And one of her bodies was destroyed. So she just became Duo Damsel. So it's like, okay, we have people here who can like change like heat and electricity and light. And then there's like twins. Okay.
Twins who sometimes become Siamese twins.
Yeah, it's like, all right, like I guess you can fight this like witch who can destroy the universe.
Have you ever seen that Family Guy episode where they all get infected with nuclear waste, and Meg's power is that she can grow her fingernails really fast?
Yeah, of course. That was before they canceled the show and brought it back.
Yeah,
and they had the Dallas ending.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Fuck,
man. Look, Michael, I've taken up enough of your day, man. Twitter's calling you. People want to come and Spite Fund, give you some money online. Where do they go? What do they do?
michaelmalice.com/contribute. But I'm on Twitter, and if you're ever in the States, come and be on my show.
Man, Brooklyn, right?
Yes, but we record them in Manhattan.
I have every single day. There is another reason for me to come out. Every single day.
I would love to show you Brooklyn, and here's why. Because we don't have like reality hunks like with accents here.
Do not parade me around the streets, Michael.
Well, I absolutely want to see what this would be like and what the reaction is. And I bet you there'd be some low-key hostility.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready. Will you protect me?
No. But you can protect yourself. You go to the gym. You can handle it.
Fantastic. Well, that'll do. Thanks, man. You know what to do. Like, share, and subscribe. If you got any comments or feedback, leave it in the comments below. And we'll see you next time.